But seeing how that is the last question, I do have one question for you. I was reading a news article about your EVA in the MMU, and from what I read, it didn't go perfectly.
No, it was miserable time, but it was because of the design of the spacesuit. We spend a lot of time training in the spacesuit or in a spacesuit that is never going to be used in space. We'll dunk it in the water. And Stewart Musgrave and I both had complained about this. Underneath the space helmet, you have a comm carrier. It looks like the World War I flying helmet, or the flying helmet that Snoopy always flew when he was on top of his doghouse. Every time you would yawn like this, every time you move this, it would snap on the comm carrier, which just hung there because we did underwater. You do have gravity vector, and the gravity kept it nice and seated on the head. We were only using old, worn-out equipment in the water, so the comm carriers we had, they were Lycra, but they were worn-out Lycra. So they just sat there and didn't do anything. But every time we yawned, the snap come loose. We give us a better snap. There's what we call a push-the-dot snap that's on every piece of flight-critical hardware in the world, and they wouldn't change it. This helmet's served men on the moon. You can wear it. Go ahead. Well, as we were in the airlock and I'm depressurizing the airlock, I start to feel this tightness in my ears. And I went, snap, goes the comm carrier. Now, I'm in 0G now, so it doesn't sit calmly on my head. What the chin strap does, and I know it's going to do this, it's going to go to the absolute worst spot that it can, right here. So now I can't see around it. I got to get rid of this thing. So I would try to get the thing to rattling back and forth between my nose and the helmet, the space helmet. Then as it's coming back here, I reach out and I tongue, I grab it, I start stuffing it down with my chin into this side over here. And I did not notice, since I was busy doing this, that the comm carrier was creeping up on my head. And the first time I noticed that was when I felt pressure on the bottom of my earlobes. So I quickly slammed my head to the back of the helmet to keep the comm carrier from coming off, because where is it going to go if it comes off my head? It's going to come right here. And I can't afford that. So now I'm stuck with my head on the back of the helmet. My microphones, the old sound-powered microphones, you put them on, you open your mouth, you take the tube in there like this, so that the thing will stay right about here, because it has to be right there so you can shove enough air molecules down there to be heard. It didn't stay there very long. Started climbing up, and ultimately got up about eyeball level. The ground notices that Bruce is out here saying, "Oh, the MMU is flying so wonderful. Oh, the Earth is beautiful." And finally the ground said, "Bruce, shut up. We've heard from you. Bob, we haven't heard from you. What do you think about this thing?" And I'm saying, "Oh, I'm doing fine. Let's talk about it later." This makes the ground curious. They know that something is wrong, but they don't know what. And the ground can't stand that. Even though they can't do one damn thing about it. They've got to be nosy. But anyway, I finally got them to quit trying to talk to me. Let's see, what else went wrong? Foot restraints. I've got a lot of work to do. And to do that work, I go to a foot restraint. I kick this side in, twist my ankle, twist it that way to lock it, switch this side, twist it like this to lock it, and I found out that I cannot get in either side. So rather than standing here anchored nicely and doing all sorts of work, which requires putting force, which means there's an equal and opposite reaction, which means, of course, rather than doing that, I am now free drifting out here. I'm still putting force in. I'm still getting force back out. It's pushing me away. So I have to grab something with my right hand, my left hand, and anchor myself in place with the left hand while I'm doing work now with half the number of tools that I need because it's occupied over here. And it was just 6 hours of absolute misery. I could not move my head because I know if I move my head, the comm carrier is going to go off. I was screaming at the top of my lung to be heard for anything. My throat gets very dry. It's 100% dry oxygen in the spacesuit. And I was just getting parched down my throat. And, I got a water bottle right here. All I got to do is right here. Guess what's going to happen while I'm doing that? Comm carrier's going to come here. So I'm really getting to be parched dry in my mouth and my lungs. And there's not a thing I can do about it because I'll lose the comm carrier. I don't know. It was misery. That's all I can say. But we got it done, and I refused to tell the ground what was going on. Another thing that was going wrong with me, with my spacesuit, is with the sublimator. The sublimator takes this water that's being pumped around your body in a bunch of tubes, and it takes the heat that you've dumped into the water by your body heat, and it cools it back in the sublimator. Sublimator works by micropores, water percolating through microporous plates, flash evaporating into space, which of course cools things that evaporate cool. My sublimators kept icing up. In fact, they iced up about 6 times during that flight. I knew that if the ground found out about that, they would panic, make us all do an emergency egress. And in fact, that's what did happen. The 6th sublimator freeze up. We were on the way back in anyway. I made the mistake of saying, "Oh, got a sublimator freeze up." Ground, "Oh my God, emergency egress." No, guys, this is about the 6th time this has happened. I am dealing with it. No emergency ingress. What I didn't tell them, the way I was dealing with the sublimator freeze up, because some engineer, for any of you guys that are in the engineering field, put the water pump on the same shaft as the ventilating fan. So therefore, when my sublimator froze up, and my normal procedure was go full cold on the spacesuit. Now that sounds stupid, but by going full cold on the suit, it dumped the maximum amount of cold water around my body so that my body could melt the ice in the sublimator. Except it felt like I just jumped in the Arctic Ocean. And I quickly turned it around to back to the heating part. And so my solution to it was turn off the fan. Gets real quiet in the spacesuit when you turn the fan off. And I would stay that way until the buildup of carbon dioxide goes to where I was talking like this. And then I would turn the fan back on and just hope that the ice was gone. And it was. And I got to breathing again until the next freeze up. Do the whole thing up. Now I'm trying to deal with this stuff, making up procedures as I went along, and made it 6 hours of absolute misery.
So you had the strap failure, you were holding your head back, the suit was going wacky, and you were giving yourself CO2 poisoning to keep going. Was it worth it?
Oh, well. I can always commit suicide. All I got to do is open this glass.
Okay.
Hey, guys, I really appreciate you coming. Those of you that had the stick-to-itiveness to stick around.